Thanks again, Jackie, for accepting the invitation. This
Yeah,
is
thanks for having
pretty
me.
much new for everyone, and we're just testing it out, see how that goes. And usually our office hours was pretty chill, like 4 to 8 people, so you can expect that. But we're growing fastly, right, Drew? So maybe there are more folks joining the community and in the next also.
Yeah, cool. So I really didn't prepare anything, to be honest, because I wasn't sure how this would go since it's our first week. Obviously I can talk quizzes, but I didn't want to like put anything together in case you were more like wanting to talk about community. I know Pedro, I know Susan, I see Cassandra in the participant list. I don't know that we've met. Drew, we haven't met officially.
No.
But we do use Circle for the Quiz Collective community that we're using. I think everybody here does too. So shoot, just let me know. What can I help with?
So I just want to let know, Cassandra, that I'm inviting you as a co-host, so you can join and ask questions here as well. I said no worries about when you put your camera up. Feel free to leave it out. But yeah, we are here today with Jackie, and she's absolutely master and pro about quizzes and community. There's a big reason why, and I will let just Jackie tell more about Interact and her community. But yeah, this is a new office hours with our community mentors at Burb, and this is something that we're trying now. You can also ask questions to Jackie anytime in our expert space. We have a post just for Jackie. And if you want just guidance on general community topics, but also more related to quizzes, feel free to post there as well. So Jackie, I'll just let you introduce you better, and you can just share something about a successful use of quiz that you know in a community to start things off.
Yeah, for sure. So, hello everybody. I'm Jackie. I work for a company called Interact, and we make online quizzes. I feel like I have this little spiel on my podcast now, where because I'll like be featured on people's podcasts, and I'm like, my dad doesn't believe I have a real job because he doesn't. He's like, quizzes. What do you mean? Um, and so honestly, I didn't really know much or anything about online lead generating marketing quizzes before I started at the company, but they are fascinating and they work. And so the biggest use case that somebody would want to use a quiz for, it's not the only one, but it's the most popular, is to start and or grow an email list. So essentially the way it works is you have a quiz that's ideally on topic or about something that your ideal customers really care about. Maybe it's overcoming a pain point, achieving a certain goal, making a transformation, simply answering a question of like which product that you offer is the best one for me kind of thing. So I, as your quiz taker, would answer the questions that you give me in the quiz. At the end of the quiz, you have an opt-in form where the lead is able to subscribe. You can make that optional or required. And then after I subscribe or I skip the subscription, I go on to my result page. And that's where you can get really specific with me as your lead based on the result that I got or the way that I've answered the question, so that you can tell me things that I need to know. Not necessarily like blatant statements or like one size fits all solutions for your whole audience, but really getting specific with what you know about me, even though you never met me. And sort of like next steps that I can take with you or in general so that I can achieve this topic that the quizzes said would help me achieve, if that makes sense. When I started at the company, so I started last March, so it's been a little over a year. Originally, I was working one-on-one with coaches. I was actually just like scrolling Instagram, finding people that I thought would benefit from using a quiz. There's a whole heck of a lot of people out there. And I would do one-on-one calls with them to help them build a quiz and launch it. And in doing that, we realized that there's power in numbers. And so it was having like the same conversations over and over again with a lot of people, or a lot of people were trying to build a very similar quiz because they were working with similar audience or in a similar niche or industry. And so from those one-on-one sessions, we turned it into group coaching, which started with a Facebook page. And so like a Facebook group. And so from coaching, if you couldn't attend live, or if you did the homework and had follow-up questions or wanted to share, you would post in the Facebook group, which just got too big, too hard to navigate. So our CEO found Circle, and that's when we moved over to Circle. So we launched our community. It's called the Quiz Collective at the end of last year. I think like unofficially it was rolled out the end of October. Officially it was the end of 2021. Yeah, we're in 2022. Because we wanted to give time for people to move over and also recognize the support that we were giving in the community. It was super, super effective. Everybody really liked it. The community is growing super strongly. I want to say in the beginning of January, we were around 300 to 400 members, and right now we're sitting at like almost 800. And so the way that we promote our community is it's like a value add. I shouldn't even put that in quotes because it is. It's a value add to our product. So when you sign up for a subscription and Interact plan, it comes with access to the Quiz Collective so that you can get all the support that we offer in there. Group coaching no longer exists today because, again, it sort of like ran its course where people were coming into the community to ask what they wanted when they wanted to ask it. And they weren't really wanting to wait for like week 5 of their 5 weeks of coaching to ask this one particular question. Or they would come to coaching and on like week 1, ask a question that related to like week 5. And so... Hey there. Everyone else is camping and partying. And so I lost my train of thought. And so we built out live office hours, more one-on-one time with the Interact team. So now when you sign up for a call, when you sign up for a plan, you get a free strategy call. And then you have access to the community where you can ask what you want to ask when you want to ask it, whenever that might be. You don't have to wait for a certain cohort or a certain group to get together to get the information that you need. So I say all of that because that was sort of the evolution of our community. Today, we have an expert in the community that helps us with Facebook ads. So Facebook ads pairs really well with quizzes, but when I was trying to help people run ads, I had never run a Facebook ad personally before. And so I was getting caught with not caught, but I wasn't able to answer some of the questions that people really wanted to know. So we brought in a Facebook ads expert to help lead those conversations. And so what I'm going to show you now is, let me just open up our community. I can share a screen in here, right?
Yep. Here on below to the
perfect.
Screen sharing.
So I bring up so this is our community, and if you have any questions on it, I can go into specific spaces and talk about channels that have transformed, that are still here from the beginning, or maybe that we've added since as we've learned in growing this. But I want to show you here, Facebook ads support. We actually embedded an Interact quiz in here, and this is something that we're still testing out. So actually I haven't looked at the analytics in a minute, so we can do that together on this call if you're interested. But what we do is, when you join this channel, this is sort of the 8 steps that you need to take to run an effective Facebook ads campaign to your quiz. And so what I've done is, this is just a post within the community. It's pinned to the top, you can see. This is a cover image that we put in there because we really wanted to reiterate, if you don't know where you're at, pick number 1. Don't just start in the middle, because these are things that you're going to want to do in order to get to the next step, so you can do all 8 things to run this effective ad. So the way this is set up, and I'm sorry if this is confusing because maybe you've never seen an Interact quiz before, which I can also show you, but this is essentially just a 1-question quiz where we removed the quiz cover. We embedded it through the custom, I think it was custom HTML in Circle, in this little edit field, to embed this in here. And so this is the 1 question. It doesn't even have a question. It just gives the answers. And so if I say, okay, before I run my ads, I need to do that. When I click it, the quiz is automatically rerouting me to the post in the community of what you have to do in order to achieve this step, I guess we'll say. Does that make sense? Any questions on that?
That is absolutely awesome. Thanks for sharing.
Yeah.
I have 2 questions.
Yes,
One, can you just walk through how you embedded.
Yeah,
Like
let me
I
go back
believe
to
it's
the
in the
share
post
screen.
settings,
It
but
is. And
so just
so
for everyone to kind of see the step by step.
yeah, this was fun because actually I've been wanting to embed a quiz into our community for a while. I actually want to put one on the homepage. So like when you first log in, you have like a very easy way of like, here's where I'm at. Now it takes you to the section of the community that you need, rather than you having to like read about the different sections and figure out which one you should go to. And a member of our quiz collective community, I talked about Circle, went over and created her own membership on Circle and asked in the Circle community about embedding quizzes. And I was like, oh, I would love to do this. Here's where I'm stuck. And I think it was Francisco who replied back, this custom HTML will work. And it did. So I just love the idea sharing that goes on here. What I want to do, I want to go back to this channel. I'm going to go into edit this post. And actually, I have to sign out because we have like an admin account now. And I can't, you have to do this as an admin in order for this to work. So I go to Facebook Ad Support. I click on edit this post. And then if I go to the settings, this right here, custom HTML, I grabbed the HTML code from Interact, pasted it in here, and then just hit done, and it worked. So I'll show you, actually I have to stop sharing and reshare so you can see. Oh, I almost hit the leave button. That would have been bad. I just want to show you.
It's way too close, both.
I know, and it's red. So I was like, oh, let me click that so I could stop sharing my screen and come back. Here I want to share. So this is our website. You log in right from the website. This quiz is in a different account also. So I go in here, and this is the quiz right here, the Facebook ads roadmap. So I'll just show you like from a back end of the quiz what this looks like how I built it in Interact. This is the quiz cover, which you could use, but I turned off because I didn't want someone to be in the community, have to click take quiz, and then answer this one question. I only wanted them to see this right here. So once I built this, I created results for each of the 8 steps that I showed you. And then I just click on redirect results, and I pasted in the link to the space in the community that I would want to reroute that person to. So when I clicked on before you run ads from the community, I went to this post specifically. It just rerouted me by clicking that answer or that part to this link. So then when I hit publish and then publish changes, I get this embed code option. So I just took the JavaScript right here, copy code, and I should just share my whole screen so I can switch tabs here. And then in here, I just pasted that embed code right here. So then when you hit done, it appears. You actually can't see it, which is a little, I was like, oh no, it doesn't work, but it doesn't appear, anything doesn't appear here. But when I hit save, the quiz is right here. And anytime you'll notice, anytime I come back to this space, it always starts me at the beginning of the quiz again. So at any time somebody is coming through here, they're able to click in on where they left off or where they need to go to next.
This is awesome. Like I brainstormed so many possibilities to do in different communities. But something I want to ask you is through Interact, there's a way that if I select before you run ads, we already see the results, like some graphs or percentage of what goal is actually clicking. Not for this case on that is redirecting, but just for another quiz.
Yeah, can you say the question again?
So imagine that I embed a pool, and then there are 5 options, and when someone clicks, it already show the results. Can we do this through Interact?
Yeah, you can. So let me just see really quick if I have, I'm going to go to a post that I was playing around with to see if we can look at that one. Yeah, perfect. Okay. So if I share this, this is where I was testing. So in our product feedback channel, where is it? Right here, quiz embeds and circle communities. If I click this was me playing around with, like, I say an actual quiz, but there's no such thing as an actual quiz. The thing that I showed you in the Facebook ads, like roadmap, that works. This is a quiz with like a final result that someone is going to get. Like, it answers this question of what's the intuitive eating game plan for you. And so if you had a quiz like this, where you wanted to give someone a true result and not just reroute them somewhere, you click on take the quiz, and then I can click through and answer the questions. Again, all of this was built in the Interact tool. It was just pasting in the JavaScript embed code into that custom HTML field for it to appear. And then so this quiz isn't set up with lead generation, which means when I answered that last question, it takes me right to the result, which you might want to do if you're not really concerned about collecting emails from people who are already in your community. But you could also, like, in order to segment your leads, so in order to know what I answered for each question and or to know which result I got, because maybe you're going to email me specifics afterwards, you would want me to subscribe. And so if you have the lead generation turned on from within this quiz, before we got to this result page, you would see an opt-in form where you could add something like, add your email so I can follow up with you on, the resources promised, or whatever the case might be.
That's great. Thanks for sharing, Jackie.
Yeah.
And another question is, do you have any examples of a quiz that is constantly live in a space or a post, maybe for engagement? I don't know if you have Quiz Collective,
Yeah,
other than the one that
within the
you
quiz
showed.
collective, this one stays live all the time. And actually, I think it'll be fun to look at some stats on this one, so we can do that next. What I want to do is move something like this, like a static quiz, to here. So that's what I was saying before, of like, instead of reading through all of this and clicking the link to the spot that you think you want to go, I would prefer this to be just the quiz where I can click on, where I'm at or what I need help with, and it will maybe take me to the space or to a specific post of what I should do next. I just found out, it's funny because like I didn't request the feature, but I just thought it wasn't possible, didn't even consider the custom HTML option. So I really just found out about the option to embed maybe a month or so ago. So other than the Facebook ads and just that testing quiz within our community, we don't have any other quizzes in there. I will show you though, on your website, yeah, this is not going to relate because this is one of our partners, but so I don't know that she even has a community, but I want to show you the setup of this. So this is on, and actually I can go back even one more. If I go to Shanti's website, this is a true example of an evergreen lead generation, leads to sales quiz. So her goal is to convert new leads that she's getting into buyers of the different offerings that she has. So on her website, static at the top is this announcement bar to take the quiz. So when I click this, it takes me to this landing page that talks about what I'm going to learn when I take the quiz. And then I'll just show you. It looks just like it looked within the community. Obviously, different pictures and questions and stuff. And then here's that opt-in form I was talking about. So this is where this is required. I can't skip it, but there is an option to make this skippable, so you don't have to subscribe. So when I click see my results, she's taking me to these quiz results. Now, I show this example because let's say you are wanting to use a quiz to grow leads and get people into your community. You could do that by sharing the quiz outside of the community, like on your website, on socials, wherever. And then in here say, okay, maybe you want to build this type of community, right? Or you're this style of community leader or something, or, whatever it relates, however it relates to the topic or of like what you're talking about to get people into the community. You could give as and I'm sorry for all the scrolling. This is a long result page. They do not have to be this long. I think she has So she's giving a whole bunch of information on here on what to do. And then there's calls to action. So these calls to action could all lead them to your community, a specific community space to drive engagement, but also to grow the size of your community if that was a goal that you had. Did that answer your question? Sort of like a workaround answer to what you had said, but does that help, Pedro?
Yeah, sure.
Cool.
If no one else has any questions, can I also do a follow up as well?
Yeah, for sure.
So I'm thinking about maybe using quizzes, in lives like this one.
Mm-hmm.
If I create a quiz in Interact and share a link here on the chat, can we see live like the results? Or if I just refresh the page, how that kind of
Yeah,
thing
you
works?
can. Yeah, you can. So I'm going to share my screen again and go back into the builder. And sorry, I keep stop sharing. I come back to look at you all and I don't want you to look at me looking at you, if that makes sense. So this is the Facebook ads roadmap quiz. So when I click on share and embed, I can just copy this link. So similar to how I just grabbed the embed code, I can just copy the link to the quiz. And then let's just see if I come back here in the chat, if I share the link, did that work? I don't know if
No?
it's not sending. But I mean, I see that you can send links in here, so it
Yeah,
should work.
that's great. Try just adding, maybe, here's the link. Yeah,
Maybe because I'm sharing screen.
that's weird. Drew,
Yeah.
can you try just sharing, just copying the link above and sharing here?
Yeah, where am I putting the link?
In the chat?
Oh,
Yeah.
that's weird.
I don't have permission. I don't know, but you should be able to. You would just take the link
Yeah.
from Interact, pop it into the chat, and then say, hey, everybody, go to the chat, take the quiz. And then what your analytics would look like, they are all in real time, so you'll get them right away, is if I go, again, to the quiz, and then I go to analytics, I can look at this for a specific date range. So I'm just going to put all time in here. And so what this is showing me is that, and so you can see, this is what your analytics will look like for any quiz. On the overview, you can see how many people viewed the quiz. Now this Facebook ads like roadmap, one question thing that we put into here is only shared on this page. This is the only place that this quiz lives. So I know that 178 people have seen this quiz, or at least I can assume have clicked into the Facebook ad support space. So of all of my customers or members in the community, this is just good insight into this is a pretty popular channel. And so actually this is perfect. It's been exactly a month that this has been running because I clicked all time. And this was the first date that the quiz was published. So 178 people have viewed it. 51 people chose to start the quiz, meaning they've clicked one of the answers. So it's like registered as someone starting to take the quiz. Now, I only have one question. So if they clicked on it, they obviously completed it. And so we've routed 51 people from this Facebook ads main page to the specific spot in the community that they've needed. Now, I don't have lead generation turned on for this, so I can't see who were the people that actually clicked or who viewed and didn't click. But I could maybe add, and this is just something that maybe you would want to test or ask your members about. I don't know that. I guess I haven't really thought too much about doing it here because it's still kind of new for this specific example. But I could turn lead generation on so that when you answer the question, before it routes you to the right space of the community, I would collect your email. You can customize that opt-in form. So I could add language to say why I'm asking you for your email. It's simply so that I can get you more support, which I'm sure people would be okay with doing. And maybe just remind them like you're not going to be subscribed to like a newsletter or an email sequence or anything like that, if that's the case. And so I guess I'll stop here. Like, this would be the overview of the analytics. You can also have people share it on Facebook and Twitter and LinkedIn. We don't do that for this specific quiz, so you're not going to see any data here, and you're not going to see any leads collected because we don't have that turned on. But another really cool thing that you're able to see here is of these 51 people who did click and answer to that quiz, I can see what they chose. So most of the people are in the beginning of before you run ads, they're still setting this up. And then you can see as it goes down where they're at as they go. So like maybe we did all this work to create all of these ad graphics that people could use, but no one has clicked on that spot. Maybe I know that that's in another space in our community. So maybe they just already know where it is and they're finding it that way and not coming through the Facebook ad support page. But something to consider, maybe we shouldn't be spending a whole bunch of time creating graphics or these templates if people aren't even wanting or like looking for them, kind of thing.
Yeah, that's awesome.
In your quiz, bless you. You might want to do this within your community. Maybe it's a quiz that you use outside of your community. On our growth plan or above, you also get access to this question and answer data. Now, this isn't really going to help me because I only have one question and there's no cover to click start and then leave. Like, you either click an answer to start the quiz or you don't. So I'm not going to see any drop off on this particular quiz. But what am I trying to say? I guess if you had multiple questions to ask, you could see, again, how people are answering the question, which for me in this case is the same as the result. So these numbers match, but also the drop off. So is there a certain question that people don't want to answer? Am I losing them at some part? And then I could go back to the quiz and optimize it. So maybe I move the question to a different spot in the quiz. Maybe I change the language. I add some images to it. I take it out, right? So you can make good updates based on what you've learned about your quiz takers from the analytics that you're seeing here.
Amazing. Thanks for sharing again, Jackie. And
Yeah.
Drew has a question. So he's getting a lot of requests for radar graph style visualizations, usually for courses or educational style self-assessments, if we can visualize in that way.
Yeah, so the reporting that I just showed you is really the only reporting that we have right now. So that's what it would look like. Yeah, I would say that's all we have in terms of analytics. I guess what I was going to say, but I don't think this is what you'd be looking for, is you can export a CSV file of all of the leads who have taken your quiz the way that the leads who've subscribed. They'd have to subscribe to know who they are. The way that they've answered certain questions, or all of the questions if that's what you're looking for, and the result that they got. So I guess you could take that CSV file to create your own reporting, graph, chart, whatever. But it wouldn't show you things like starts to views to completions, drop-offs on different questions. It would only be analytics specific to people that subscribe to the quiz and the answers that they chose, or the result that they got from it.
Jackie, there's a general question. I don't want to put you on the spot, but
Yeah.
are there like any best practice for the length of a quiz, like 5 questions, 4 questions?
Yeah, it's a super common question. So the sweet spot is we recommend 7 to 10 questions. And that's because, and this is for your like typical lead generation quiz. Like, obviously you just saw my quiz had one question, it had no cover, and it didn't really have results. It's not your average quiz, but it works for what I needed it to do. So in your like classic, typical lead generation quiz, it's 7 to 10 questions, because you don't want to ask too many questions where the person completing your quiz is like, I don't have time for this, or this is too much work. That you want to get them to finish it. And it also seems to be enough questions to get people to the right result, which is super important. If they're not getting to the right result, they're not going to feel like this is worth their time or investing in, because they don't see a connection on how this fits them. And And it also allows you, so really fun thing you can do within the quiz, I think this is probably my favorite part, is you can ask questions that give you information about your leads, but that don't necessarily relate to the final result someone is going to get. As an example, let's say you do like a personality style quiz of like, what's your community building style or personality, right? I might want to know how long you've been building out communities. Are you brand new, or is this like the 10th community that you've built? Because I would have two very different conversations with somebody who's never built a community before and who's looking to like optimize a community or grow it or scale it or build their 10th, 11th, 12th plus community, right? So anybody could be at any stage in their like journey in their career rather of building communities, right? But be any personality type. So in Interact, you can ask the question so that you're still getting the information, but you can set it up so that it does not affect the final result someone's going to get. So with the 7 to 10 questions, you're able to get someone to the right result. It's not too long for them to take. And you can also probably squeeze in some questions for you that you would want to know. Still feels related to the quiz, but it's not actually serving a purpose for the lead to get the proper result. It's serving the purpose of telling you more about your lead or your customer. So again, you can get more specific with where in the community they need to go, or a specific email that you want to send them to tell them X, Y, and Z. So 7 to 10 questions. Yeah. And then just to elaborate on that a little bit more, 4 to 6 results is usually a good spot to start to. Some people will make a bunch of results, and that really just takes more time for you to build that quiz. You have to build out 10, 12, however many results you go with, result pages. And then you also have to ask questions that get people to 10 different results in like a good amount of questions without people having to leave, right? So it's not to say that you can't ask less than 7 or more than 10, and it's not to say that you can't have less than 4 results or more than 6, but that seems to be the sweet spot for the quiz maker and the quiz taker.
Awesome.
Mm-hmm.
And Susan, because I don't want to just take over all the questions, but also feel free to drop in the chat or just go live here. But Jackie, oops, I think she clicked the end stream. It was close to the screen sharing. Let's just give it a moment for Jackie to join back. Our reporter circle. Hey, just give more space between and the live stream and screen sharing.
Yeah, don't put destructive actions right in the smack in the middle of things that you want to do.
Or at least like confirm, like, do you want to leave in the middle of the live stream? You're the host. Let me ping her here. Wait a minute.
So sorry, I hit the wrong button. Also, I realized when I switched my account in Interact, my Circle account, so I could show you as the admin, it wasn't logged in as me, the email from Burb. So I think that's why I couldn't drop the link in the chat before.
Oh yeah,
I wasn't actually logged in. Okay, what did I miss? So sorry.
No, the other question was, I believe that change for different types of communities, but if I add images, would I get just bigger conversion rates for questions, or just depends?
Yeah, it depends. It's something that you would want to test out, but I will say that we see better conversion in terms of starts to completion, so people getting through and finishing the quiz, when you use a combination of like text answers, so they're just reading text, versus images throughout the quiz. So changing it up seems to keep people engaged, so they're not looking at the same thing on every screen, every question that they ask. And I guess with Interact, we have a partnership with Unsplash and with Giphy. So you can add GIFs or stock photos or upload your own images into your quiz on the cover, within the questions, on the result pages. And we get asked a lot, like, should I use GIFs? And again, something you'd want to test with your audience or consider your audience before deciding what to do. I know of at least one person who her audience is a little bit older, and she had gifts in her quiz that she was hearing from her audience, like, I can't even look at this screen to answer the questions because the gifts are constantly moving. Whereas like another community member, Monisha, is like, no, my people love gifts. Every single question is a different GIF and it gets people through the quiz. So something to consider about your audience. Do they like movement on the screen? Do they not? But I think a combination of text and image answers is ideal to get, like, for engagement and just to keep the quiz exciting for people and fun.
And again, that's okay if you don't have any examples, but do you have an example of a fun quiz that kind of works, or just
Yeah, so
a model or template
yeah,
that
quizzes
like
will
everyone
work.
can just plug in and play around to test it?
Yeah, let's look at the templates that we have. So quizzes will work for different reasons, for different use cases, based on your audience, for different things. So the one thing that we say absolutely for sure when you get started is done is better than perfect. So write a quiz, get it out there, test it with your audience, and then you're able to use those analytics to see where people are falling out of that funnel. So if they're not even viewing the quiz, thinking about how you're promoting it. If they're not clicking in to start it, is the topic aligned? Could you do more to tell them why they should take the quiz? If they're starting the quiz, but they're not completing it, looking at that question and answer data to see where they're falling out so you can update different questions and get people through the quiz, right? So we see a lot of really great quizzes come through our community because we have a feedback specific channel. That's probably our most popular channel in the community. Once your quiz is finished, before you share it with your audience, you post it in the community to get feedback on it first. And some of the quizzes look really, really, really great, but then they publish them and they share them and they just don't get results. But that's when we can look at the analytics again to see, like, where are people falling out, where are you losing them? And then we can get specific with just focusing on that one area to perfect it. So it's definitely an iterative process. I haven't really seen someone launch one quiz the first time and it works perfectly. People have gotten really, really great results from their first quiz, don't get me wrong, but usually always they'll go back into the quiz and make some little updates or tweaks to optimize it based on what they've learned. So let me show you some examples. If we go to here in my dashboard, when you go to quizzes and click create new quiz, these are all of the templates, quiz templates that we have available, and all of them follow the same format. So they typically have 7 to 10 questions. They typically have 4 to 6 results. Some of them I think might have 3 though. And they're on all different topics. So they're all sorted by industry over here. And whatever you're most interested in is, I love traveling, so let's just click that. I can see quizzes that relate to travel. So maybe, you know, everyone's always asking me, let's just say I'm a travel agent, everyone's always asking me, where should I travel next? Or maybe your community sells different travel packages or something like that. You could put a quiz in there or leading people to the community of where should you travel next. And just to preview this, it shows you the cover, gives you some fun questions. So like, which cocktail would you most likely sip on and why? Super easy question to answer, maybe, right? Has images, so it looks fun. It's exciting because like it's not like too thought-provoking or hard for me to answer this as a quiz taker. So this would be called like an engagement question. Your perfect day consists of. This question might do a little bit of research for you of like, okay, everyone who's coming in through your quiz, what are they saying their perfect vacation or their perfect day consists of? Let's make more vacation packages, or let's give more resources in the community that relate to this thing that they're all saying. Maybe in the quiz analytics, you realize, hey, nobody's ever picking option 1. So let's change option 1 to something else and see is it because the other options are so strong, or is it because actually nobody's interested in this thing, which would be a great thing to know so you don't spend time talking about that or creating an offering for something that nobody's interested in. A fun question, what suitcase best suits your style? I'm looking for... So this one here, what's tempting you to travel, like what's the reason behind your travel, what makes you book a vacation, could be a great segmentation question. So when you set this quiz up with your email marketing system, so the leads go into the platform where your email list lives, MailerLite, ConvertKit, whatever it is, you could tag the way this lead answers this question to, let's say, send a specific email to them, or maybe you put them into like a certain funnel that speaks to, curiosity and the curiosity behind travel and other people who've traveled because they're curious and things that they've learned and where they're at in their life now, versus somebody who's traveling for the purpose of relaxation. The curiosity newsletters might come across as like, whoa, this is overwhelming. Like, I'm going on vacation to relax. I don't want to do all this stuff and learn all these new things. I literally just want to sit on a beach. So maybe you send this person, you've segmented them, okay, they like to relax, down a different funnel of, okay, you're going to get newsletters all about the best beaches, or ways to relax on vacation, top like self-care hotels, things like that. And then I'll show you here, and actually let me just use this template so it can make this a little bit bigger. Sorry if you guys couldn't see that. In the results, typically, again, all of our templates will follow the same format. You have the result title, which should always answer the quiz question. Then at the top of the result, we talk about like why the person landed here. So like, what do we know about them that makes them a perfect fit for Barcelona, Spain? Boost their ego a little bit, tell them things that they kind of want to hear about themselves. Then we go into sort of quick wins. So what are three, doesn't have to be three, but like what are some quick wins that these people, your lead, can do right now to get that much closer to taking the vacation of their dreams or finding the spot where they should travel next? Then we have a bio so that you can introduce yourself, your brand, your community to the person taking the quiz. And then it ends with like a resource section of here's a specific blog on relaxing. Maybe the person who chose like, I'm curious, Barcelona has all this like culture and history. So maybe it's a blog post about, a curious traveler that went to Spain and what they learned, what they found. A trip planning checklist could be the same for everybody, or maybe it's a different checklist based on the type of vacation that you go on, relaxing versus adventure travel or something. And then always end the result page with what happens next. So now that I've taken the quiz, where should I go from here? What should I expect to happen next? And that, in a nutshell, is like the best kind of quiz you can make. And I put that in quotes because it's one use case for lead generation, maybe pointing to specific offerings or products that you sell, but it does not have to be this long. It can be longer. You could change anything that you wanted on this, and it could still be just as effective based on what your goals are.
Thanks for sharing the builder. I never built a quiz like this. I'm just curious, like, how does it work to calculate the results? Like,
good
you
question.
give some scores to each question, and then there's a range.
Yeah. So if I go in here, and with the quiz templates this is a quiz template that I opened, these correlations are already set up for you. So if I go, this is a personality style quiz. So it's based on correlation. So whatever answer I pick relates to this result. So as I go through the quiz, the quiz taker, am going to get the result that related to the answer I chose the most through the quiz. Now there's also a scored quiz. So if I go in here and change this to a scored quiz, I guess I'll just show you real quick while I'm here. What's tempting you to travel, I'm guessing. Okay, what's tempting you to travel, they correlated to a result, they being the people who wrote this template. But let's just say this question of, or maybe you ask the question of like, how soon are you ready to travel, right? And then you could maybe be any personality or want to go to any destination, but the length of time that you have to plan this trip could be very different. So when you ask those segmenting questions that don't relate to the final result, you just uncorrelate these so that they're blank. And this will tell the quiz, okay, they've answered the question. So for the quiz taker, it feels like nothing new. I'm just going through answering the questions, but the quiz won't assign like a weight towards getting a specific result because it doesn't correlate with anything here. So that's how you would ask a question that doesn't relate to the final result, but that still gives you what you need to know. So then if I switch to a scored quiz, you can, in the results, assign a point value here. So if I go to result settings, maybe I want, actually, I think I have to actually go to the questions first and set the answer scores. And then the builder will recognize how many total points there are. And then you can adjust them in the result section. So let's just say for this one, I don't know, you get 1 point here, 2 points, 3 points, 4 points. You can put negative points or you can put 100 points. So if you wanted to weight something really heavily to make sure they get a specific answer, you're able to do that. But that, I think, Pedro, is what you meant. And that's an option of assigning points to each answer and then going to the results, and you can see the numbers change based on the range of points each result has. That's the result somebody would get from the quiz.
Yeah, no, the correlation is like way easier. What I was thinking, like using points, so that's
Yeah.
great.
Yep.
I never have guessed that. It's just easy to correlate and to just afterwards
Yeah, it's
see
super
what's the
easy.
most voted.
Super easy. And lead generation, turning that on is really easy too. So since we're here, when you turn this on, this is where you can set up that opt-in form. So this is where you can make it optional. Now I just made it required. I took that button away. You can change up the information that you're wanting to collect from people here. And then you can type anything that you want into here or even into the button. So this is where I was saying, if you wanted to collect emails from people that you already have emails for, let them know why you're needing their information here so they can get tailored resources or, more support in the community or whatever it might be. So then once you have this set up to your liking, you connect it with your mailer. I can't remember if we have. Okay, so this account I don't have connected with an email marketing system right now, but all you would do is select your mailer from that list. We'll just go back. Oops, right here. So choose your mailer from this list. It'll either ask you to sign in or add that API key from your account, and then you'll move on to the next page where you set up the mapping. So that's where you tell the system, okay, when a new lead subscribes, I want them to be added to this specific, group or segment or list. Different mailers call it different things. Maybe you want to tag them on something specific, and you can set that up for both the result someone might get or someone will get, and or the way they're answering any questions.
Talking about integrations, we saw that it works to embed on Circle. I'm guessing, but does it work to embed or share a link where we can kind of preview on Slack or Discord? Or have you tried this already?
I think to do that, you would just post. So back to here, if you go out when you publish the quiz, you would just copy this link and share it right in Slack.
But it doesn't kind of previews, right?
It'll look like this. I actually think somebody just sent me a quiz today. Yeah, okay, here I found it. Oops, I went to Zoom. You guys aren't on Zoom. Here you are. Share screen. So in Slack, when she shared this quiz with me, it looked like this. So all she did was paste in the link, but then I got the preview of it. And just so you can see what this quiz looks like when I open it, this is the cover, right? So it's turned that into a post within Slack, sort of. And then I guess just so you all know, what this quiz does is this from Dawn. She just started her own copywriting membership club. She calls it The Den. And so she sent out this one question quiz within her Slack community to say, what do you really want help with first? She's going to pick the first training that she does based on what people say. So tell me what you really, really want. Here's all the topics that were discussed at last week's call. Which one do you want to tackle first? Let's just put, I don't know, other. and then I can put my name. And again, this is where she already has my email, right? Because I'm in her membership already. But she's saying, give me your details so I can see what you specifically want. Probably so that if she doesn't cover the thing that I requested, she's able to follow up with me and give me that support regardless. So let me just do this, and then this is required. So click here because I need you to. If I didn't fill this out, it would tell me, hey, you have to put your information in. I'll just show you. Like, please enter an email. So it won't let you move forward without doing that. And then this was literally for her sort of research. What topic should I do next? Thank you. I appreciate you so much. Here's a little gift thanking me, and then go to the den. So this links right back to her Slack group. So I could sort of like pick up where I left off after I took this quiz, which I opened from Slack.
Yeah, just having the preview is great as well. So more other builders outside Circle can leverage this in their communities as well.
Yeah, totally.
But Jack, this has been great. Thanks again
I'm glad.
for joining us today. Susan, Drew, if you have more questions, I don't want to just take much. I could be asking questions Jack until tomorrow. So just want to
Ask
open
away.
it
I
for
love
you to
them.
go.
Yeah, there's honestly lots you can do. So if anyone has any questions specifically on quizzes that you want to make for your community or for outside of your community, if you have questions on different use cases that people have, or maybe you're thinking of something of a way to use a quiz and you want to chat about it, hit me up. I literally do this all day and I absolutely love it. So.
And for anyone that's watching this later, the record, in our space, our expert space in the community, there's a post for Jackie. You can drop her questions there as well. So feel free to always leave a question and Jack will jump in to help you.
Yep, for sure.
Thanks again, everyone, for today. Thanks so much, Jackie. And then I hope to see you again next month.
Yeah, sounds good. See you around, everybody.
Thanks, Jackie.
See ya.